was 30 years old. I had 3 kids, a beautiful wife, and a big house, the best job I could possibly imagine in the world. And yet I laid awake at night and felt this burden I can't explain. I began to pray and read and seek God, and God began to tell me that it was no accident that my family had been put together, and that the personalities that He brought to this family were there for a reason, for a story.
God quickly began showing me glimpses of another idea, another plan, another journey that He had for me and for our family.
So I got my whole family together, and I brought them in the living room, and I never do stuff like this. And I brought my 3 kids and my wife, and we got in the living room, and I said, God's got a big plan for us. He's got a plan for our family and a purpose. And it's not an accident that we've been brought together, and we have to pray and ask God to show it to us. And so we began to pray every night. God, show us your plan and give us a purpose for what you've brought together.
He started telling me and just giving me little glimpses of His thoughts of adoption for us. And I can tell you story after story of just moments where I could very much hear what God was saying. And He was saying that adoption is going to be for our family.
And one day Rachel came and she said, hey, I have an idea. I've been thinking about adoption. And I looked at her and I said no.
What I wanted to do was just keep pressing the issue. And what I wanted to do was make sure He understood how I felt and what I really felt God was telling me. And what God told me to do was to be quiet and to let Him work. And so I did, and it was difficult. For the next year, things continually came to me. I felt like I was just bombarded with adoptions and fostering and all sorts of different ideas of orphan care and things that just came to me at all times, and I knew they were from God.
For months and months and months, I thought about what she'd said. And finally, I brought her back up to her and I said, hey, that adoption thing, do you want to think about it? She said, yeah, I've been wanting to think about it. I've never quit thinking about it. I said, well, let's just decide to just say yes to every opportunity we can.
All that God told us was to just begin going through doors as they open, because that's really how God works. You know, we go through these doors and He closes them if it's not what's supposed to happen. And so we just began that journey.
We got an email from a friend that said, would you be interested in this ministry called Hope for Haiti? And it was a ministry to deal with orphans that were severely injured in Haiti. And we said yes. And in the midst of that, to become qualified, you had to become what essentially was a foster parent in the state of Texas. So we went through the paperwork and we found the agency and we went to the classes and we did the seminars and just the class after class after class. And while we were there, before our last class, we got an email that said Hope for Haiti isn't going to happen. No kids are going to come over. It's over. It's done.
But for us, it was an answer, and we knew that we were to head towards fostering.
We got a call that said, we have a placement in Houston. She's a 3-month-old baby that's been laying in a hospital bed for 2 weeks. Would you take her? And I said, yes. And then I said, hold on. Yes, but let me call my wife. So I hung up with her. I called Rachel and I said, Rachel, they have a 3-month-old baby down at Texas Children's. Are you interested? And she said, I don't know. And I said, well, I already said yes. She said, well, okay, then yes. And so we just went for it. And my kids went for it. And we realized at that moment, as much as it was about to change our life, we had a purpose and a plan. And through that baby, we've had 6 others. We've adopted 1. We have no idea where God's going to lead us. And we know this isn't the end of our story, but we have a story. God's burden on my heart was for me to ask what our story was. And He gave it to us. Our life will never be the same, but we have a story.